Hey guys, this is Steve with Orlando Collector Deviants. We are here live at the Infinity Toy and Comic Convention at the Osceola Heritage Park. I bring you this time Mr. Marcus Roberts.
Glad to be here.
Second Sight Publishing. And we're going to talk about his newest endeavor, along with his view of the show today and his future with everything. Sound like a good? Now, can we go over that all in about 15 minutes?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So we will start with you. How you doing today?
Oh, I can't complain, man.
No, you can't. You're just too nice not to complain.
Well, I always say it's not to complain, but who you complain to. Like, I can't complain to you, man. You can't do nothing for me. You can't move a pebble for me, so I'll save my complaints. I won't weigh you down.
Well, I could shut off the interview.
But no, I don't have any complaints, man. I've been doing the comic book, really been focusing on comic book conventions this year. Traveled everywhere from Philly to Savannah, pushing comic books.
And at least this weekend you're not stuck in Savannah?
Yeah, oh man, it was weird because like the convention was winding down that Sunday, but the hurricane was picking up. So instead of coming home, it was spending another couple of days in Savannah, watching that almost get washed off the coast.
I've seen you drive. Well, I've heard you drive. So you could have made it. I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm like.
You just had to stay down 95 instead of coming across 10.
Yeah, but, it was Savannah. So I figured
I've never seen Savannah in a hurricane. So.
Well,
is it still as beautiful during the hurricane?
Yeah, it is. It still is beautiful, and yet it's like if you can't swim, don't go downtown.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just wondering if we could just borrow the seats to recreate a picture from Batman and Superman from the How Should Offended series.
If you can do what?
Borrow the seats for a second.
Borrow
Actually,
the seats.
We're in the middle of a live interview.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We're live right now.
Oh, gotcha. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You're good. I'm sorry to bother you.
Superman wanted to borrow our seats.
Yeah. And Batman was going to enforce it.
Yep. Okay. So, talking about Savannah, it's still pretty during a hurricane.
It is, but downtown was so flooded, man, that they had to shut it down.
Really?
Yeah. Water waist high all around.
3 p.m. But right now,
we got Jonathan going on, guys. So you know the routine.
So there are 6 stones out there. 6 stones you can find. We have the Space Stone,
and Jonathan just walked by us, so that's why he's doing this, because he knows I'm in the middle of the interview.
And the funny thing about those stones are, like I had one sitting on my table. It sat there for about 45 minutes to an hour. People were coming up, they would look at the comic books, they talk, and then they keep walking. And then this father and daughter came up. The daughter looked at the comic books and she was walking away, and the father said, "Hey, isn't that one of those stony things there?"
Okay, so let's talk about what you're doing at the show today. What are you showcasing at this show today?
Today I'm showcasing Shook, as always. Definitely get a copy of that. It is.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it out of your hand.
No, not a problem, because you got to buy it. Now you touch it, you buy it.
But you got a payment system?
Oh yeah, we got a payment system. They got the bloodline hooked up there, so we take a couple of pints.
Tell Bradley I will give him installments.
I definitely let him know.
We have an adult category and a children category. So you can sign up there, but right now we're searching for the 6 Infinity Stones. 6 stones are out there.
Man, I'm going to tell you, as much searching for these Infinity Stones, you think they take better care of not losing them. They lose them like every half hour.
If you put a geotag on them or something.
Exactly.
But yeah, the Shook, man, is going. It's going good. Also, Evil Lives. Evil Lives was nominated for Best Comic of the Year by the Heroic Awards. So I got that. We do horror, as you know.
No, you do horror?
Horror is our thing, man. That's
Oh,
our
okay.
jam, man. So I got also the volume 4 of Mississippi Zombie.
Now, I'm not gonna try. Never mind. I'll bring it up after the interview. 'Cause if you notice somebody that's showing me something else,
I see.
so I will talk about that.
Yeah.
But okay, so tell me why everybody needs to have the third printing of Shook.
Because this book collects some of the top writers in the industry. So where else are you going to find a book that has Kevin Grievous, Rodney Barnes, David Walker, Brandon Easton, John Jennings, Alvern Ball, myself and Bradley, along with Evan Park. And I always tell people this, Evan Park is somebody you know, but you don't know that you know him. Evan Park is an actor. Remember Peter Jackson's King Kong?
Uh-huh.
Evan Park was in that. He was in The Replacements. He's been Captain America and Winter Soldier. He's been on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's been on Picard. Like, he is an actor. He's a long 20-year career in acting, but this was his first comic book thing. And he and Kevin Grievous were friends. And Kevin Grievous said, look, man, my friend, well, no, I got to do the Kevin Grievous voice. Oh, look, man, my friend wants to do a comic book. So I said, well, let me see his stuff, and if it's good, I'll publish it. And it was good, so we got it done.
Now, how long does it take to compile one of these anthologies?
Oh, man, depending on the page, like this is 192 pages. So it was actually like 5 or 6 months of waiting on people to finish their stories and me actually putting the book together with the design. Some of the other books I do are shorter, like The Harvest of Horror, for example. That's generally 48 pages. So that's four 12-page stories. So we're talking that if everybody's working at the same time to complete their story, then we're talking about 2 months, 5 to 6 weeks, but we call it 2 months just to be safe. So within 8 weeks, I can put together that book.
Now, my question on something like this: all those people that you named, they wrote the stories.
Right.
Now, do they find their own artists, or do you guys supply the artists on something like that?
It's a combination of both. Some people will have people that they work with, and they will bring those people in that they work with. Some people, like Evan Park, for example, like he didn't know anything about comic books. This was his first comic book story, so we had to get an artist for him. We had to get the letter or color. We had to get all of that for him. Brandon Easton, he did a script and we provided the artist. Rodney Barnes did a script and we provided the artist for that.
Okay, I was curious because I know some people might have like their own artists or whatnot. Yeah. I didn't know. Hey, we just want the story. We'll put it together from there. Or hey, do what you got to do.
Well, when we originally talked with like Rodney Barnes, we know Rodney Barnes is an artist, so he isn't drawing anything. But he said, "Look, I don't have time really to get a script to you. I don't have time to get the production of the book done." So we said, "Look, if you get us a script, then we'll take care of the rest." So that's why we ended up getting an artist for him. And same thing with Brandon. Brandon said, "Look, I can get a script to you, but I really don't have time to go and oversee production of it because I got all this other stuff I'm doing." So he got the script to us, and then we went on and got the artist for him.
Okay. I'm always curious, how that goes along.
Well, it goes different ways. Like in my case, for Mississippi Zombie, for example, I work with Dan Gorman. Dan and I have been working together now for years and worked on several issues together. So if I'm doing a story for that, then I can call Dan
Remember,
and say,
there's
hey,
6 stones
we got
still
another
out there.
story
You
to
have
do.
received not one
Dan
yet.
Gorman actually did
6
Evan
stones,
Park's
6
story
chances to complete the Infinity
for
Stone
sure.
scavenger hunt.
And just besides everything else he does, because he's always busy. He stays busy.
Now, I know you guys do a lot that's not anthologies, but you guys really kind of specialize in the anthology.
Yeah.
Was that a plan from the beginning, or is that just something, you know what, this works, let's keep going with it?
I take not so much credit for it, but I'm an old school horror guy. So I grew up reading anthologies, reading the EC comics, and then then the underground comics movement, reading all the Warren publications, Creepy and Eerie and Psycho and those things. And even with Marvel, with their books, they had some anthology style comics. So I've always preferred the anthologies because it's a mixture of stories, it's a mixture of art. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but it's always something in the book for everybody. So just using that, because we're not doing anything new, we're not reinventing the wheel. We are taking plays from things that have already been done that have been successful. And the anthology books have always been successful because they've always offered something for everybody.
No, I understand. I'm sitting there. Well, you say you didn't reinvent the wheel. I'm going to bring this up, and I don't usually like bringing it up, but when I do, you have, because of this line right here.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important.
Yeah.
It's always been there, but you're bringing the attention to it.
Yeah.
And I hate to say, because if you look, this is a black horror anthology. The stuff that Marcus was bringing up, you didn't see that. Even if there was a person of color, I don't know how to say. I'm sorry, I don't know what to say these days, but it was never brought to the forefront.
Right.
And giving the U.S. our history, that was definitely not brought to the forefront.
Right.
And you guys are. So I am trying to say, yeah, you have reinvented the wheel because you're bringing it to the forefront.
Well, it's definitely a space there that was needed filling, because the stories
needed acknowledged.
And needing acknowledging, yes, because the stories traditionally have always been the same thing. Like as much as I love Stephen King, even he says I usually write my stories around the same area of the country.
Yeah.
Because you always got Maine. That's where he does the story.
Yeah.
So they have a description or a label for that horror coming from the area, because you find a lot of horror that comes from the area. Well, the title of Black Horror Anthology is kind of misleading. We've had people think, oh, y'all gonna be out there all talking about killing the police and doing all this. And it's no. It is horror stories told from the Black perspective. Because the way horror is, and I say this all the time, like horror isn't just black, horror isn't just white. Evil monsters don't get up and say, hey, I'm just killing Japanese people today. Monsters
you
kill
got
everybody.
Godzilla,
Well, even Godzilla swam across the ocean and raised hell in New York. But yeah, it touches everybody, and it touches people differently because of our experiences, but it's still there. So to have stories told from that experience was something that was new.
And that's what I like. I mean, it's bringing a new view into an old viewership.
Yeah.
And it's always been there. It's just not been told.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. No offense, if you would have done this 30 years ago, you'd have a whole different reaction than what you have now.
Definitely. But even so, because of Bradley and I and Second Sight and where we're based at, and even some of the people that are in the book, because we're all Southerners, then our stories fall under the Southern Gothic horror.
Yeah.
Just like with
And Southern horror people, if you don't know, if you're not from the South, it's a completely different genre from like the Midwest.
yeah.
Everything. Well, even Midwest is different than up north in New York and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Everything is a whole different genre of everything.
Yeah, and it's being from the South as we are, then yeah, our stories do have a particular slant to it that's more Southern than anything else. So we are proud to represent the Southern Gothic horror genre because it is taking more notice. You know, like all the spooky and scary stuff doesn't just happen in urban areas and in New England. It happens all over the place.
Oh yeah. And this has struck a chord because, like I mentioned earlier, you're on your third printing already.
Yeah, on the third printing. The book is, we are guesstimating now based on the last numbers that we saw, but the book is approaching 40,000 copies sold.
And that's not bad.
Not bad at all. Not
And-
bad at all.
And that's worldwide, or
Yeah.
is it just U.S. based?
Yeah, that's worldwide. That's worldwide. We were happy in signing with Dark Horse because it gave us access to more venues outside of the U.S. So, and just having that really helps propel the book forward.
Now, is there any other country that you guys are like huge in?
Oh, we're still big in Canada. We've been big in Canada, and I know a lot of it came from the fact that as a company, we have like Peter Brody. Peter, being Canadian, the stuff that he does for us, the stuff that he writes, it gains a lot of attention. Peter actually has some other projects that he's done that are hitting comic book stores now. His Deliver Us from Evil book, his Mud Madness book, they're hitting stores now too. So, like, Peter's big there in the Great White North, as they call it, and his fame and success has translated to us as well. So we've garnered a real big fan base there in Canada.
So now we just gotta get you in like Russia and all these other places.
Well, what I tell you, we need to really design a Shook book that's worldwide. Maybe call it Shook, the Worldwide Horror Anthology.
Yeah.
And bring in some. One of the things I enjoy doing is finding out the different myths from various places and incorporating that stuff into stories.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we can.
I'm sitting there. You're saying that it's like, man, that would be cool to get the Asian urban legends, or
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
and like I said, Russian. What are the Russian urban legends that like scare
Oh,
ghosts?
that's right. We got one more stone in my hand.
Some years ago, a friend of mine did a story about a Scandinavian mythological fire god who is a woman. And in his story, he had a twist where this thing was passed down from generation to generation. And the young girl that it was passed to, or the young lady it was passed to, she actually, as she got older, transitioned to a man.
That's right. One more stone is
But
space stone.
because she's
So
part
that's
of this
3 out
legacy,
the
or he's
6
part of the
that we
legacy now,
conquered.
when he transforms, he transforms into a fire goddess because he can't escape the legacy, even having the operation to become a male.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's deep. And
Oh,
then it was, the book itself was well received because you had people who they have the questions about acceptance, because they have transitioned themselves because of what they represent as far as their sexuality. So they have this, are there stories out there for me? Does anybody actually write anything that caters toward me, that understands me to write this? So that story was well received because you had to deal with the emotional ramifications of it, as well as it being a good comic book story.
You're gonna have to get me the name of it.
I will. I definitely will.
Now I'm interested in it, and I bet you my daughter would be interested in it. So
The gentleman's name is Bill McCormick. He and I are friends
Trish.
on Facebook. He's actually one of the administrators for
Trish.
ICC. So yeah, Bill McCormick.
Trish,
Sorry.
can you write down Bill McCormick? Thank you. Cat videos.
Yeah.
No,
Got it.
dog videos.
Oh, she switched to the dog videos now.
Okay, so one more question about Shook. It is the horror story. Now, is it all scary horror, or do you got like funny
That is
horror?
4 stones down for
Is it like a variety of
It is a variety.
or gory horror? Because there's so many different versions of horror.
It is because we include what we would call superhero horror, whereas you have this character. The story actually is by Kevin Grievous, Ezra the Hunter, and Ezra is a monster hunter, but Ezra has the power to assume the powers of the monsters that he captures. That's why he's so good at capturing. But then you have David Walker's story, The Monster of Blackenstein, which is just horror comedy. You have the story I did, one of the stories I did, it's more sci-fi than horror, but it is sci-fi horror. So it's some everything in there. I mean, and that's the whole beauty of this book is something in there for everybody. Like it's not just all jump scares, it's just not all blood and gore, but it's actually some.
And that's what I wanted everybody to know. You know, it's not just because you got some people. Oh, I don't do horror comics. They're too gory, or they're too.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to see. This has a variety of.
Yeah. Now you have your gore in there, but it's not all gore. It's like you just can't live on gory stuff.
Well, tell that to Friday 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, you see, even those franchises, it's like after you kill somebody, you stab a spear through them while they're in the bed. It's like how many times do you do that before it gets old? So you can't just continually.
Or you go the Evil Dead route, which was the first one was a great horror movie, and then slowly built up to just being horror comedy.
Yeah,
you know,
and there's nothing wrong with horror comedy. It's just not for me.
I loved how the Evil Dead trilogy ended and all that, but I loved the first one, which was one of its kind. You know,
yeah.
It was great. It was a college film, you know.
Exactly.
And it was true to its roots. And then you got the second one, which still had the horror in it, but they started going a little bit more funny.
Yeah.
And then the last one was just the whole.
Yeah. And it's like, it has its place. I can't knock it, but it's just not for me. I don't like horror comedy, and I definitely don't put happy endings in my stories. Like one of my friends, Jeff Carroll, Jeff talks about having a story that has a resolution with a happy ending. And I tell him all the time, no. The only happy endings I know of are massage parties.
I was thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it. Okay, so let's talk about the show. Are you enjoying the show today?
I am. I always enjoy coming to this show. I've been doing it pretty regularly now for like the last 6 years. So
I just found out today that like next year is like the 10th anniversary, and it's like I've been doing the show for 10 years.
It sneaks up on you, man. I mean, really, but particularly if it's one of the shows like this one where you already have it marked up on your calendar because you know it's gonna come up at this time, and you just don't think about it. Then the show happens, you do the show, and then you mark it off again next year, and it just continues on and on. Then when you actually stop and take a break, I'm like that with the Central Florida Con there in Lake. I've been doing that con since it started. So now they're saying we're going in our 7th year, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's been 7 years. Like Where did the time go?
And that's one of the first ones where I met you.
Yep.
You and Alfred.
Yep. That's right. That's right. So it's easy when you're enjoying what you're doing and you like where you're going. It's easy to forget how often you've gone there.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when this was in a itty bitty hotel in Orlando, and it has grown.
Yeah.
Okay, so while you've been here, anything that you've seen that interested you?
Well, I'm on the hunt for different comic books. So I've already gone by to see Tom, the con father. He's already got the book that I was looking for. So now I'm just like hitting some of these other long boxes to see what's out there.
Okay, so come out here, guys. Marcus is here. He's down one of these rows.
Table A8.
Trish doesn't let me off the table very often. So Marcus is here. He's here till 5 o'clock. You can come. You can pick up. I'm gonna steal your book again.
Go ahead.
You can pick up this book or many of his other ones that he has. Because what's your next best that's not an anthology?
The next best that's not an anthology would be These Damn Kids. I have issue 1 and issue 2 with me.
So there you go. You can get Shook. You can get These Damn Kids. There's actually quite a few other books that are really great that he has over there. Come in, check him out. We're all here till 5 o'clock. You can come over. Just if you see me talking with somebody, don't ask to use my chairs. That's all I ask. Until then, any last words to impart on these people? Not you, Jonathan.
Support indie comics.
Hold on one second. Okay, go for it.
Support indie comics. It's a lot of guys out there who are actually depending on people to come and buy their stuff, purchase their stuff. They aren't the big two. They are guys like me who are passionate, who are dedicated, who enjoy comics and enjoy people. Support indie comics.
All right. And with that, guys, we're going to leave you. Support indie comics, which I've always been a big supporter of. Just not this last year because it's been a hell of a year. But until the next interview, guys, take it easy.
Peace.